hats at the camp I work at. I've been the art director, I've ran sports programming, and this coming summer I am going to be leading our teaching kitchen, and teaching our campers how to cook and bring stuff home with them. And so I have been cooking and baking for a long time with my mom, with my grandma, and with other family members. And there's just something about baking that is so special, and cooking. And for me, it all surrounds itself around tradition. And this year has been a little bit of a weird year. And I've realized with everything that traditions are so important in your life. And so baking holiday meals with my mom to teaching these campers this summer, I did a lot of online interaction, just like this with them. And we baked a lot of different stuff. And I learned as I went and all of that. But most of all, I love to teach, and I love to talk to other people and interact with everyone. So what you should have in front of you, we'll just go over it again, is a piece of parchment paper, a piece of any designs. Maybe if you printed out the designs I had that were sent out to you, you're going to want all of your bags of icing. Oh, Lauren, will you switch to the kitchen cam? Perfect.
Switching to kitchen cam.
Awesome. Here we go. Okay, so as you can see in front of me, I have my parchment paper. I have some of my designs that I've laid under my parchment paper. I have my icing right here, and what I'm going to have everybody do first, if yours just came today or if it came a little bit ago, kind of roll it around in your hand to help incorporate the colors with each other a little bit more, and just warm up your icing. And we're going to do that with all of them. Just a little bit. Once you've done that, you'll have your sprinkles. I have those right in front of me, the ones that came with them. They're all really fun, great for Valentine's Day. And then I have my cookies. I have my 2 hearts and my 2 circles, just like all of you. What we're going to do, you're going to want a scissors, and I'm going to go over first a few techniques when it comes to decorating your cookies. So because we only have these bags of icing, usually a lot of times you'll see I have a bottle like this where I put my icing in, and I can put different kinds of tips on it that will change the way that the icing comes out. Sometimes you'll use a pastry bag, which will be very similar. There are reusable pastry bags, and there are also disposable pastry bags. One's always a little bit easier. You just throw it in the trash when you're done. But for us, we have these bags. So what we're going to do is we want to be careful when we're cutting them open to only cut them as far open as we want for our first stroke, or what however we're applying our frosting to our sheet. So if you have your scissors, we're going to start with our white, and we're going to do a little bit of a medium cut. So I'll show this as we're in there. I'm going to pinch it together, and I'm going to do a little bit of a cut. Now, you can always make that bigger. With these kind of bags, you cannot make it smaller. So start small, and if you think it's not the right size, you can always expand it. Do I have any questions? Nope. We're doing good. Awesome. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to first just practice on our paper just a little bit. We don't have a ton of icing, but we're just gonna practice a little bit and what it looks like. So I'm gonna cut my red bag just a little smaller than what I just did with my white. And what I'm gonna do, and I like to kind of hold mine in one hand. I like to hold mine in one hand and guide along with the other hand. So as I go, I'm gonna just take my red and I'm gonna just make a little bit of a line. And you'll see how that goes. So take your icing, make just a little bit of a line. And then you can practice. I'm going to take my white and I'm going to practice making a circle. And I'm going to make kind of a little, a medium-sized circle, nothing too big. And I'm going to start in the middle by squeezing. I'm going to put it down and I'm going to just keep squeezing. I'll move that away as we go. And I'm going to let the circle get bigger by not moving my frosting around, but by squeezing it into the middle, and you'll see it start to expand as you go. So the white is a little bit challenging to see, but I can come down here and you can see it. So I didn't make the circle shape. It will automatically do that for you as you squeeze. Can I see thumbs up? How we doing? Awesome. So those are a few of those techniques, and we'll use similar techniques as we go with our stuff. I like to have the designs I've created either drawn in front of me or these I did on the computer, and I just like to have them here. I'm going to do everything freehand, which will be like, I won't stencil it out first. I'm going to do everything freehand, just with the icing and with my mind as I go and see and look at the picture. And sometimes the best designs just come to your head as you're going and you start doing it. My favorite thing when it comes to decorating cookies is you can't go wrong. You can't mess up with this. And that's what's so great. You can scrape it off and start over if you want, or you just keep going, and I guarantee they will taste just as delicious either way. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do a flower. I'm going to take my white frosting and I'm going to first start by going around the edges.
Amy,
Yes, go ahead.
are we doing this Hawaiian flower in the photo?
Yep, we're going to start with this Hawaiian flower that you can see here, but really you can follow along with me. And if this isn't a flower you want to do, you can try out other flowers as you go. But we're going to start with this one right in front of us. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to go around the sides. And it's okay if it doesn't completely make a circle, because we're going to spread it around. Okay. And then I'm going to take, and you'll want to be careful when you're squeezing your bag, because sometimes if you squeeze your bag a little too hard, you'll get, it will break in places that you haven't cut it open. So I'm going to then take a little bit more of my whites, and you don't need too much because we're going to use all of the icing that we have here, and we're going to spread it around. Now, a lot of the cookie designs that you saw on that were sent to you in your email were done with royal icing. Today, we're using more of a buttercream, just a regular frosting. A royal icing is going to be different because it's going to get hard after you do it. And I'll show you a few examples. But what I'm going to do is, you should have a popsicle stick in your bag or in your box that you had. And you're going to take it now and you're going to spread your frosting around. I like to leave a little bit of my cookie showing around the edges. So I'm going to spread my frosting around. And if you need more, you can always add more. And I like to kind of just make a flowing pattern as I go. And you can always smooth it out with it. So I'm going to go around, make sure I covered everything. It's the right consistency I want. And just like that, we have our base coat on our cookie. So I'm going to set my spoon aside, and now we're going to work on the flower piece. I'll give everyone a few seconds to catch up.
Is it okay if it's not completely smooth?
It is. And that's kind of the difference with this frosting. I'll show you a few of the designs I made earlier with some royal icing, which gets hard. And this is one of my favorites. It's kind of a tie-dye pattern. And this icing gets hard in the end, and it's nice and shiny and smooth. This kind of icing is going to stay a little bit more rough, and that's okay. It's just the different looks that we have. You have another one. I have another one here with some royal icing. I did a heart in the middle and some sprinkles on it. So let's see, when you got your white in there, can I see some thumbs up? I like it. Nice. Okay. So now you can either take your pink or your red, whichever one you feel you want to be your petals of your flower. And I'm going to just cut my pink open because I haven't done that yet. Okay. And I'm going to start working on my petals. Now with this, it's always, just like we did the circle, I like to make the outline and then fill in the rest of that flower, that petal on it. So I'm going to start with this top one up there, and it does not have to look exactly like this. It's okay for it to look a little different. And let's see. I'm going to come a little bit closer. So if you don't have the design in front of you, you can see it right here. How's that?
Good.
Okay, so now we're going to start with the petals. And feel free to practice on if you have the designs in front of you. But so I'm going to start with the first one. And I'm going to start from the bottom. And I like to say this first one kind of looks like a tooth. Okay, so I have my outline in here, and now I'm going to fill it in. Now, this is where your popsicle stick is going to work a little bit better than my spoon. Sometimes I like to use my fingers as well, but I'm going to just go in here and I'm just going to smooth it out. And again, it's okay if it's bumpy.
I think I lost your picture.
We're coming back.
Oh,
there we are.
Okay.
We're back. Okay, so I have my first petal here. Now all the rest of them kind of look connected. So we're going to just continue with that outline as we go. So I'm going to leave my space for the center of my flower, and I'm going to just start building around. So we're going to And again, this is freehand. What you could do is take a toothpick and kind of sketch it in there first and then follow those lines you did. But no matter what, like I said, it's going to taste delicious in the end. So I'm going to just keep going around. and make those petals. And be as creative as you want, and you can change the design a little bit. But so I made that one really big one, and now I'm going to do the same thing as we did earlier. I'm going to start to fill it in with my frosting. Whoops. Okay, so I have all of that one filled in. I'm going to take my spoon again, and I'm going to smooth it out as we go. And just a little bit, you'll notice I'm not smoothing it out too much. I like a little bit of that texture piece in there. And then we have one more petal. I'm going to fit that one in right in between here. And if you don't have room for the last one, you can leave that out. Let's see. And I'm going to smooth that out. Okay, I'm going to give you all a few seconds to catch up to where that is. And like I said before, one of the best things about baking is being able to get a little bit messy. So I'm going to just go in with my finger and make sure you've washed your hands if you're going to share these with others. I'm going to just go in and smooth it out a little bit, but keep that texture there.
And Amy?
Yeah.
We're doing 3 designs today and we have 4 cookies, right? So if you mess up, you could just start again.
Exactly. Yep. If you mess up, you can start over. You could scrape that cookie off. You can use another cookie, or on that 4th cookie, you can get to use your creativity and make your own design as you go. So lots of options for 4 cookies and all different options. So let's see how we're all doing. Thumbs up if we're ready to make this the middle of our flower. Awesome. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up. That's great. Nice. Okay. So if you're still working on that, that's okay. I'm going to go on to the middle, and it's the same technique we just did. So I'm going to start in the center. I'm going to build it up. And for this one, I'm not going to do any spreading. I'm just going to leave it like that. So I went in, and when I went to that top piece, I kind of just made the for me, it kind of looks like a chicken's foot, but I kind of just made those and built it off of it. And now, so I'm going to leave that right here while everyone's working. And as we're going, like I was talking about earlier, there are traditions that that I've done in the kitchen with my mom for years, and these holiday meals and all of that. One thing that we're really loving to do right now is cook a lot of different Chinese foods. We found a lot of different stuff, but if you feel comfortable sharing and want to unmute yourself and some of your family traditions, I would love that. Looks like Evelyn, is that right? Awesome. Yeah. Let's hear it.
What's your tradition?
My tradition is to make friends.
Make spaghetti with our friends, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love spaghetti. Do you like just tomato sauce, or do you like meat in your pasta?
I only eat pasta.
Only the pasta. I like it. That's great. Anyone else have some traditions they would like to share? Lauren, do you have any family traditions?
We make cinnamon rolls on Christmas.
Ah, I love that. At my camp, every Saturday morning, we have cinnamon rolls.
Yum.
And
Every
our
Saturday.
campers,
That's the life.
every Saturday morning, they get cinnamon rolls and they know what they're getting and they just love it.
Wow, I want to go to your camp.
It's pretty fun. Okay, so let's see. We'll do another thumbs up as we're going. And we'll see how everyone's doing. Is everybody good on their first cookie? And we're going to move on to our next one. Let's see a thumbs. Oh, I see someone already eating it. That's great. I love it. You got to taste it. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we are going to take a little bit of this layering technique that we did right here. We started with our base coat and then we built up. And so you get to see a little bit of dimension in your cookie. So we're going to build off of that, and we are going to take our other circle and we're going to make a flower. Now, we'll move this to this design. Now, in my design, you'll see that I did 2 different colors. You can do 2 different colors, or you can do them all the same. Because we're layering, you'll see the dimension as we go. But on a 1D picture, it's a little hard to see that. So we're not going to do a base coat on this one. We're just going to start building our flower. Now, similar to how we made that circle in the beginning, on our parchment paper for practicing, we're going to squeeze, and as we pull back to get it to be a thicker petal in the end, we're going to do similar to that circle, and we're going to let it build on itself. So I'm going to show you right here. So I'm going to start in the middle, and it's okay that you're going to see some white space, and I'm going to pull it out, and as I squeeze harder, you're going to see that flower, that petal build. So I didn't move it back and forth. I just let the pressure that I was applying build that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go all the way around and do that same motion. Now you're going to want to leave a little bit of white space so you can see as it builds on top of each other. So I'm going to just come out. I'm going to build. And we're going to just keep going. All the way around. And you'll just, as you go, you'll just keep adjusting your frosting. You know, sometimes it will build up in the back of it. But as you squeeze it, it will come back. So I'm going to go all the way around. And you'll see I've already made this a little bit thicker than the last one we did. Okay, so we went all the way around and it looks like this. You can see the dimension to it. Every petal looks different on a flower. So I'm not going to do any smoothing out of this. I'm going to just let that flower have those petals have the different shape as we're going. Okay. Now I'm going to do it in 2 different colors just so you all can see the difference, but feel free to do it in the same color as you're going. So I'm now going to start in the middle of 2 of those petals. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now I might need to open my baggie a little bit more. but I'm going to continue to do the same thing now on top of it. So I'm going to open mine a little more. As we're going, and I'm going to continue to work my way around. Nice and in the middle. Sure we can see. Okay. Now, I said earlier I learned a lot of my love for cooking from my mom and my grandparents, and my aunt loves to cook, and just seeing all the different stuff that they do, and I've started incorporating that into my life. And you know, this year we didn't get to have as many holidays with everybody, so we wanted to keep that tradition alive. And so we made food, and we actually went around and dropped it off to my brothers and my grandpa and my uncles and all of that. So there are definitely ways to keep that going. So you're going to see on mine that we have the two different colors. If you did it with the same colors, you'll see it kind of incorporate a little bit more with each other. So we have our stuff done. Let's see, can I see some of your cookie designs? If you want to hold on. Oh, nice. Those look great. And that looks awesome. David, nice. Evelyn, that looks great. Oh, Mary Lee, that looks awesome. I love it. Okay, so now our last piece we're gonna do for our cookie is we are gonna open I'm gonna use sprinkles for this next piece because it's always fun to layer different stuff on here. So I'm gonna take my sprinkle packet that I got, and for this one, I'm not gonna use all of my sprinkles. I'm gonna take a little cup I have here. I'm gonna put them in, but I'm gonna take the white round ones, and I'm gonna use that for the middle of my flower. And I'm gonna just stick a few of those in there. And what this does is it creates a little bit of a crunch, a little different texture, and it's always fun. Sprinkles are the best. It's always fun. My trick for getting good sprinkles is to go in after the holidays have happened, and you'll find they have a lot of great sprinkles that come. So this is a Valentine's Day one that we got after a holiday. Here we have more of a spring sprinkle, one with some other little dots. But that's my trick for that. I'm just going to go around, and I'm going to put my center of my flower in there. So now we have our two flowers going. So we're going to stick those to the side. And let's see, how's everyone doing?
Great.
Great. Love to hear that. Awesome.
How do you get your sprinkles in though without getting your hands all full of frosting?
Yeah, so the frosting shouldn't be too sticky as you're doing it. So I'm gonna take, I don't know if I have any white ones. Well, I have this nice big pearl one, and I just kind of drop it. Whoops. I'll drop it in here, and then from the top of my sprinkle, I'll push it down.
Okay, great, thank you.
And yeah, and even with the other ones, this isn't a super messy frosting that's going to get all over you unless you start playing with it. Okay. So now we're going to move on to our next cookie, our last design that we're going to do together, and then everybody will be able to work on theirs on their last one that we'll have. We have one heart. So what we're going to do for this one, I'm going to move it up, and we're going to do a little bit of this doily one. Now, the colors, if you have opened your bags and they're all different lengths or all different widths, openings, it does not have to be this same color design or pattern that we did here. It can be a little bit different. Now, my white, I opened much more than I opened my pink. So I'm gonna do a white board or fill my cookie in white. I'm gonna use my pink for that doily little piece around it. And then I'm actually gonna use some sprinkles for the pattern inside it. Okay, so we're gonna go around our circle. Just like we did or go around our heart, just like we did our circle earlier. We're gonna fill that in. And then we're going to spread it out just like we did before. So I'm going to take my spoon first. I'm just going to spread my frosting out. Now you'll see with different kinds of icing and different bags and different tips, you can do some stuff a little bit more intricate. With this kind of icing, it might look a little bit more messy than if you were to do it with that royal icing that I was showing it earlier. You're going to get a little bit cleaner lines and stuff in there, but it all works out. So what we're going to do now, after you fill in your heart, is we're going to go around and kind of do our doily pattern. So it's just going to be, I'm going to fill my bag down, and it's just going to be little loops all the way around. And this is where you're going to want that more fine tip. So we're going to go around. I'm just going to keep making my way around it. And what's fun is some areas you'll see some more openings than others. Just continue all the way around. They can be close. You'll see where you come together on at the top, it kind of overlaps itself, which is kind of fun. And we're just going to make our way all the way around.
Ah, shoot.
That's it. Now, as we're doing this one, what is one of your favorite foods to make in the kitchen? Does anybody want to share? Let's see.
For me, it's actually baking cookies.
I love
That's what
nice.
I like to do the best.
Homemade pizza.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Do you like thin crust, or do you like more of a thick crust?
Well, I make my own crust, so it's however it fits the size of the pizza stone.
I
So
like it.
it's probably thin. Tonight we're
Nice.
having stuffed green peppers.
Ooh, that's another good one. Evelyn, I see you want to share.
I like to make cookies of everyone.
I like it. So as you can see, my tip was a little bigger than I would have wanted it for this, but that's okay. It has its own unique character as you go. So you'll see it kind of looks like a lion's mane a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my sprinkles, and you could take your frosting and do the same stuff. But I'm gonna take all different sprinkles. I have a heart one. I have some pink and red dots. We even have some long ones as we're going. And I'm just gonna keep laying these down. Now, thinking here, maybe we'll have a few others.
Amy, one thing. I think the camera, if you're using like an iPad, I think it went vertical.
Oh, it did? Interesting.
Or the angle just changed.
Might have just flipped.
Might have just moved.
Here, I will.
That looks good now.
That's good. Perfect.
It was just a little
Thank
bit
you.
cut off. It wasn't too bad.
Perfect. Thank you, Anthony. Okay, so I'm gonna just keep putting my sprinkles on. You can even go from above and lay some sprinkles. Now, a lot of times, depending on your frosting, your sprinkles aren't going to stick very well if you just sprinkle them from above. So I like to go around and just give it a little bit of a tap and get those in there. Okay, so I'll put in front my 3 cookies. I still have that last one that I can decorate as we go. And I'm gonna just tell you about a few other fun things that are great for all different levels to make on Valentine's Day or any day that you have. I went ahead today, and I think we have a little bit of time, so I can show you these. I'm gonna move all this stuff to the side. And we made just some chocolate truffles, which I think Lauren has the recipe, and it will get sent out if it hasn't already. But
What, you're sending out the chocolate truffles?
Yes, we'll send that recipe out to you.
Oh, no, I want the chocolate truffles sent out.
You want me to send them to you? Well,
better start an Etsy shop, Amy.
I know. Don't say it too loud because my mom will probably do it. She'll be like, let's send them. So what I did with these, and I'm gonna go get the mixture. So what's fun with a truffle is you make stuff on. Maybe Lauren, you can switch to the other camera.
Yes.
Awesome. And then you can see me a little bit and just instead of my hands. So what we did here, and I'll show them up. So
Beautiful.
I took a few different, we took some cocoa. You'll see in this bowl. And I rolled them in some cocoa. This is actually a caramel chocolate truffle.
Oh, yeah.
I did some just other sprinkles. And what we're gonna do, and continue to decorate your cookies if you're still decorating them. I'm gonna get my truffle thing and I'm gonna show you how to roll one out. So you'll make your truffle stuff ahead of time, because what you gotta do is you actually gotta let it rest a little bit in the refrigerator. Now, a little trick that I like to use, and a trick my mom taught me, is to either wet your hands, but what I've started doing is taking Pam or canola oil or any of that spray and I spray my hand first so the chocolate doesn't stick to it.
Well, that's a good idea.
So we'll go down and I'll show you this. Now, another thing you could do with your truffles, if you are a super chocolate lover, is you can roll them out like I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to spray my hands. You can see some of it on my hands. They get nice, rub them together. They get nice and greasy. Is you can actually dip them in another chocolate. So you can melt chocolate and dip them in more chocolate and sprinkles. And that's going to be a little bit more chocolatey as you're going. The cocoa will do it as well. So I made this ahead of time. It's just some milk chocolate. We used a little bit, it calls for dark chocolate. We did some dark chocolate and some milk chocolate. I'm gonna put it in my hand as we're going. We made some homemade caramel sauce, which will be in the recipe. And then you put that into your chocolate as it's melting. And the best thing with a truffle is you just take it and it's nice and cold and you get to roll it out.
How big of an ice cream scoop are you using there?
That's a great question. This is, I want to say it's about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more.
Okay, thank you.
It's not quite as big of an ice cream scoop as you would for doing ice cream.
Sure.
It's more of like that cookie scoop.
Right.
So I rolled it out, and while it's still a little bit sticky on the outside, but it's cold on the inside, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to take my cocoa powder, and I'm going to just take it, and I'm going to roll it in there. Just keep rolling it around until it's all covered. Or even the top is just covered, because you'll put it in something and nobody will see the bottom. So I have my sprinkle, or I have little cups here, and I'm going to just stick it in a cup. And you have such an easy dessert to make. Another one of our favorites, and I'm sure everybody's you can never have enough cookies. So we like to do a few different things. For a long time, I didn't like chocolate, so we always stuck to Snickerdoodles or something like that. Snickerdoodles are super fun and you'll get this recipe as well. Snickerdoodles are super easy. You put all your dry ingredients, which you can kind of see back here. I have some dry ingredients. You're gonna put them all in your mixer. And that's really all you have to do. You follow the directions, but you'll put your butter and your sugar in first, and your salt and some, I think it's baking soda or baking powder. You'll put your sugar and your butter in. You'll let that mix together. You'll then add your eggs. You then will add your dry ingredients. And then all you do, similar to your truffle that you're making, is roll it in cinnamon sugar and put it on the pan. And the oven will do everything else for you. So there are so many easy recipes to make in the kitchen that are not scary to start with. And that's what I love. And we also like to go online and find different recipes of the same cookie and try them and pick the ones we like, and then we put them in a drawer and we have that one, the one we like the most, we have that one for forever, and we can do it all the time, or we can try another one as we're going. Let's see where we all are. I think that's what I have for you. I'm so happy I got to do this with everybody and join you right before Valentine's Day. And thanks for joining. I'm going to pass it back over to Lauren.
Can I ask a question quick?
Yeah, of course.
How much buttercream frosting would you make, like if you're going to have a recipe for, say, 3 dozen cookies or so?
Yeah, I would make almost not quite a full KitchenAid mixer, but I'd make a good amount. You can always put that in your refrigerator and save it for later.
Okay.
it's not going to last forever, but you can, if you make cookies the next few weeks, you'll have it, and you can use it. I like to make more because I like to, do what we did here and color them in different
Sure.
icing. So I keep my white mixture in my bowl. I start separating that and putting some into little bowls and start making the colors I like, which I get all of my stuff that I was showing earlier. I get most of it at Michael's, the craft
Sure.
store. They have a
Right.
huge section for all of that stuff. So I have all my food dyes, which are all food grade, which are great to have. We actually bought all these tips on Amazon. And then I have my bottles that I bought at Michael's, and I have all of that stuff. So I like to make more frosting than I
Sure.
might need,
Okay.
and then save it, or even lick the spoon as you're going. But but any more questions?
That's it for me, but thank you. I appreciate that.
You want to see
Yeah.
my cookie?
I would
Oh.
love to. Yeah.
Can you see it?
Oh yeah, it looks great. Oh, I love
Ooh,
that.
That's a creative one.
If you
Nice.
all want to hold up one of your favorite cookies, I would love to see them before I turn it back over to Lauren.
I ate mine.
Nice.
I'm
My
having trouble
grand-
not eating mine.
My
also.
grandchildren already signed off and already ate 3 of them. So they can't.
Oh, fun. Those
As
look
soon
so
as I'm off the
great.
camera, these cookies will be gone in
Well,
seconds.
they had to go feed the kids,
Oh,
and
nice.
they try to keep on a strict schedule. But Jeff texted me and said they had a ball. So thank you.
Oh,
Oh, I'm
awesome.
so glad.
Yes.
Kitty, that one looked great. Oh, that looks beautiful.
Awesome.
Lauren, I'm sending it back to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
perfect.
Thank you very
Thank-
much.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us. And if you've attended our events before, we love to have you. We love to have your friends and family if they want to join us. Our next event is going to be on February 24th, and that's going to be a State of the Markets event. So there'll be less snacks provided for that one. However, it should be really interesting. But this is not my area of expertise. I'm actually going to let Anthony tell you a little bit more about that one.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lauren. And you've noticed that I've just been sitting here quietly and respectfully as people who know more than I do the work today. So thank you again, Amy. And so the next event, as Lauren mentioned, is going to be the State of the Markets. I think I only need to say one word to get you interested, at least those of you who maybe have seen it before, and that is GameStop, right? We can talk
Yes.
about GameStop finally. That's not what it's going to all be about, but that is my
Robinhood.
salacious teaser for later for our next event. So if you want to hear about my thoughts on the markets, the economy, GameStop, and what we're projecting for the rest of the year, tune in, because I will, as you know, not pull punches and not go short.
Yes, and lots to talk about from 2020 as well. It was a huge year. So I think this event is going to be, there's a lot to talk about, right? So we'll have to do some catching up there. So look forward to that in your email. Yeah, so that'll be what's coming up next, but we have a whole year worth of events and we're going to keep putting them out for you guys. So we want to hear your feedback. If you want to do a next level class where Amy goes through maybe some royal icing techniques for those of you who are like, this kind of frosting is too simple, let's level it up. We could do something like that. If you want to see her do a savory demonstration, we could do that. And obviously our expertise is in finance. So we can do a multitude of topics relating to that. And we'd love to hear what you would like to see happen. So I'm actually going to put our contact information up on the screen. And then if you have anything to say, any feedback from this event, any request for future events, a question that's not at all related to this event or future events, and it's just a question that you have, we'd love to hear it. So I'm going to put that up on the screen. And with that, I don't want to keep you too long from your dinner. So if you want to take down our information and go, that's fine with me. If you want to stick around and ask Amy questions, that's fine with me. Yeah, thank you for attending.
Thank you.
I'm happy to stay on and answer any questions.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I have a question.
I just wanted to
Question.
I have a question.
Okay, let's hear it.
Why do we eat cookies?
Was that why or
She asked,
was that why?
why do we make cookies for Valentine's Day?
Why do we make cookies? You know, I think we make cookies on Valentine's Day because they're sweet. And it's something that kind of warms your insides and your heart. And so that, for me, that's why I think we make cookies on Valentine's Day. I'm sure Lauren might have another answer, or someone else, but that's mine.
Amy is softy. I would have said because they're delicious.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for joining. Oh, great. Mullins did Peter want to make any?
He did. He made some
How fun.
and ate them right away. I was going to say thank you for the demonstration, Amy. Learned a lot. I was curious, what's the difference between buttercream and royal icing?
Yeah, so it's that's a great question. So buttercream, you're gonna put a lot of butter in it. You know, that's where it starts. And there are a bunch of different ways to make buttercream frosting. For royal icing, you're actually gonna use meringue powder. Now, so I can show you what that looks like. And I get this at Michael's as well. And it's just it's called meringue powder. It's an egg white substitute. So I believe there's no egg whites actually in it. And you're going to take that and you're going to blend it. You're going to put it in your stand mixer, and it takes a little bit of time to mix up that royal icing as you're going. And it's going to it's going to start out as a thick consistency, but you can add more water to it and it's going to be a lot thinner. So when you're doing, oh, I didn't eat it. When you're doing something like this, you're going to want a thicker consistency to make that line around it. And then you're going to want a thinner consistency to fill it. And that thinner royal icing is going to spread out and it's going to harden on your cookie. So this, for the buttercream or just the icing that we had in this kit, you can stack stuff on top of each other right away. When it comes to royal icing, so there are different techniques. I could have inlaid my heart and it would have sunk into it, but I let my pink harden first and put my white on top. So it made two different layers there. So you're gonna be, there's limitations in both kinds. But there's also a lot of different benefits. This one, I just took white icing in a bowl. I then started swirling in some pink, and I actually just dipped it in, twirled it a little bit, and picked it up. And then I banged it, and that's how you get this nice little.
That is so cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks team for joining. Looks like it's mostly just us left now. And I'll see you in the morning. And thank you again, Amy. You did awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Great job, Ames.
Thanks, Uncle Jeff.
Oh, cute. Bye-bye.